Hi there, this is a revision session for A-Level Business for the AQA course. This is session 1 of 10, looking at the first unit, What is Business? So unit 1, What is Business, is broken down into three areas. You have 3.1.1, which is understanding the nature and purpose of business, with 5 learning outcomes, sort of suggested timing in the classroom of 4 hours on that. And a bit more guidance on sort of a bit more depth of the topics that you should know and understand. Then we have 3.1.2, understanding different business forms. Again, 4 learning outcomes, suggested time on this 7 hours, a bit further guidance there as to what you should know and understand. And finally, 3.1.3, and understand that businesses operate within an external environment. Just 1 learning outcome, 4 hour suggested timing, and again a bit further guidance. So that is a sort of overall snapshot there of what Unit 1 looks like, and we will look at that in a bit more depth further on in this presentation. So before we look at Unit 1 in more detail, I just thought I'd give you some tips on how to approach topics. So for example, when you get a topic, you should be saying, what is this topic? What is it about? Okay, why does it relate to business? Are there any advantages for the business for this particular topic? Are there any disadvantages for the business for this topic? Does it link to another business topic? So helps you to sort of build up a bigger picture of how businesses might link up with other topics into other units, things like that. And also, is there a formula associated with this topic? Now, of course, there isn't always a formula associated with most of the topics, but it is important to ask yourself, does it link up with that? So let's just take a topic then, just to put this into context for you. Let's say a topic called market conditions. Market conditions is under Unit 1. It does come up, so this could be useful. So topic, what is that topic? What's it about? Well, this is tells you about what are market conditions. Okay, so it obviously relates to business. And then some advantages of a business knowing market conditions. So there's 4 reasons why market conditions are important or an advantage to the business. There's also some disadvantages there of the business of not knowing the market conditions. 4 reasons there. Helps you to also understand what the topic means to a business as well by doing that and looking up the advantages and disadvantages. Does it link to another business topic? Well, yes, market conditions are closely linked to several other business topics, as it says in the answer there. It could be linked to economic conditions, consumer behaviour, industry trends, competition, financial performance, and strategic planning. Now, I'm not going to go into all of the depths of all what they mean, but it's just important that you understand how certain topics can link to other subjects within the business. And is there a formula associated with this topic? Well, probably not. But however, it does say here that there's no specific formula for determining market conditions, as they are influenced by a variety of factors and can change over time. Market conditions are typically evaluated by analysing data on supply and demand, economic indicators, and competition. So there's some formulas when you sort of, bed down into that topic. There are formulas there, but nothing directly related to the actual subject of just general market conditions. So that's just a tip going forward to try and take with you when you're revising for your AQA A Level. To just put it into some kind of context and try to expand on each topic as much as you kind of possibly can, because of course you never know when you're going to get a question on it, and the more depth and understanding you have of the topics, the more confident you will feel in being able to answer A-level questions. Okay, so let's take a look at 3.1.1, understanding the nature and purpose of business. So we've got 5 learning outcomes in this section to understand why business exists. Remembering this is just Unit 1, it's an introductory unit, and you're just trying to really generate that sort of first ideas about business and why businesses are there and things like that. There's sort of 5 reasons as to why business exists, and also the understanding what a mission statement is and understanding what business objectives are and the relationship between those 2 things. Also, you got a reason for business, wider businesses set business objectives. Okay, that's important to understand. And finally, the importance of profit. Quite a bit of information on that one, so do take some time to read that. These answers are generated by the open AI software, Chat GPT. So it goes into quite a lot of depth, and I recommend using that as a revision tool, because some of the information that it can do give you is generate is it's really good. So do take a moment to have a look at that as well. So we'll move on to 3.1.2. So let's take a look now at 3.1.2, understanding different business forms. There are various learning outcomes for 3.1.2, and the first one is to understand reasons for choosing different business forms. When you set up a new business, you can set it up under various forms listed there, so sole trader, partnership, limited liability, etc. So it's important you know those and perhaps why a business might choose to set up in that way. Also, to understand the role of shareholders and why they invest in businesses. Here's a list of reasons as to who shareholders are and why they invest, and also what influences the share price, and the significance of share price changes is also some reasons there. Company performance and economic conditions, interest rates and things like that all influence share prices. And finally is the effects on the ownership on a mission statement, the objectives, decisions and performance of the business. And you've got some information there that you can read. So there's a sort of suggested timing on that of 7 hours. Don't forget the other guidance at the bottom there that goes into a bit more depth to help you with that. So that's 3.1.2 covered. Okay, so we're going to move on to 3.1.3, understanding that businesses operate within an external environment. The learning outcome is to understand how the external environment can affect costs and demand. So first of all, you need to really understand what it's meant by the external environment. So you could have a business, but it is impacted by what goes on outside in the sort of real world, if you like, looking at things like the microenvironment and the macro environment. So two things that slightly go over into these economics as a subject, but have a read of both of those because they both make sense, and it's how businesses adapt to these external influences and environments. Suggested timing on this is 4 hours in the classroom, and there's some further guidance there on the left hand side, so do take a note of those as well. Okay, so that's the end of this short presentation on Unit 1, What is Business? Quick reminder of the three things that you're looking at, or the three areas. So there's three specific reference areas, 3.1.1, 2 and 3. With various learning outcomes. Now, I haven't obviously gone into it in much depth, but it's just basically all the topics that are kind of covered in a broad sense for this particular unit. It is going to require you to do some additional reading, and a couple of other pointers and things that you can do as well. You could watch YouTube videos on topics that you don't quite understand. Do some note taking like you should have been doing over the last couple of years in your classes. Practice papers, obviously the obvious one. Kind of quite difficult to necessarily find questions that relate directly to Unit 1. However, obviously if you read the textbooks, there are practice questions under the units that relate just to this particular unit. Obviously keep in touch with BBC Business News. Hopefully you've been doing that, because of course you can then link some of your answers that you may give in the exam paper directly to real things that are happening in the news, and there's certainly been a lot happening over the last 12 to 18 months in business. That's a good one. Always speak to your teacher. So if there's a topic that you don't understand, make sure that you mention that to your teacher, and they'll probably more than happily go back over that subject for you. Another good one is a to do some topic lists. Always recommend when you do a topic list to have the list of topics that you're supposed to know for the unit and mark them out of 10. So if it's a topic that you struggle with, give it a 1 or a 2. If it's a topic that you feel very confident about and that you fully understand, give it a 9 or a 10, because then it enables you to identify weak areas within the unit and that you need to go back on and work on and watch a YouTube video, note taking and so forth. And then finally, flashcards. Flashcards are always good just for those sort of moments when you get a few moments to yourself to just practice a few flashcards just to test your knowledge if you have the time. And don't forget the layout that I mentioned in sort of slide 2 there about trying to think about what is the actual topic that you're trying to understand, why is it an advantage to the business, what are the disadvantages to the business perhaps not using it, is there a formula associated with the subject and things like that. So that's important to take note of that. So that's my first session, revision session. This has been Unit 1, What is Business? And the next one, of course, is Unit 2, Managers and Leaders.